Welcome to Elevate and Thrive, where your mindset evolves. Easy choices create future struggles because comfort has a hidden cost. In the moment, the easy decision feels harmless, it feels deserved, it feels small. You tell yourself it does not matter if you skip one workout, delay one task, ignore one responsibility, spend a little more than you planned, or avoid one uncomfortable conversation. The problem is never the single decision. The problem is the pattern that forms when easy becomes your default response to pressure. If this is helping you shift your mindset, subscribe to Elevate and Thrive. This channel is for your growth. When you consistently choose what feels good now over what builds strength later, you slowly weaken your ability to handle difficulty. Muscles that are not challenged become soft. Minds that are not stretched become fragile. Discipline that does not practice disappears. The easy path conditions you to expect comfort, and life does not operate on that standard. Life demands resilience, preparation, and responsibility. If you avoid building those qualities today, tomorrow will expose that weakness. Procrastination is one of the most dangerous easy choices. Delaying effort gives temporary relief, but it multiplies pressure. Work that could have been handled calmly becomes urgent. Simple responsibilities become overwhelming. The small stress you avoided grows into large anxiety. You feel trapped not because the task was impossible, but because you postponed the action required to complete it. The easy choice to wait creates the hard consequence of panic. Financial habits reveal the same truth. Spending money for instant gratification feels rewarding in the moment. Saving and investing require restraint. They require thinking beyond today. When you choose spending repeatedly, you sacrifice future security for present pleasure. Later, when unexpected expenses arise or opportunities appear, you feel restricted and stressed. The easy choice to indulge becomes the difficult reality of limitation. Health follows this pattern as well. Choosing comfort over movement, junk food over discipline, and convenience over preparation slowly builds consequences that cannot be ignored. Energy decreases, confidence drops, medical issues emerge. What could have been prevented with small daily discipline becomes a heavy burden. The body keeps score. The easy decision to avoid discomfort compounds into physical struggle. Relationships are not immune. Avoiding honest conversations may feel easier than confronting issues. Staying silent may prevent short-term tension. But unspoken frustrations grow, misunderstandings deepen, trust weakens. Eventually, the relationship suffers not because of one conflict, but because of the accumulation of avoided truths. The easy choice to stay comfortable creates the hard reality of emotional distance. The most dangerous part of easy choices is that the consequences are delayed. If every poor decision produced immediate pain, change would be simple. But life often allows you to drift for a while before presenting the bill. This delay creates the illusion that comfort has no cost. By the time the consequences become visible, the habits are deeply rooted and harder to change. Easy choices also erode self-trust. Each time you promise yourself discipline and then choose comfort, you weaken your confidence, you begin to doubt your own word, you set goals but fail to act. Over time, belief in your own potential fades. That internal disappointment becomes heavier than the discomfort you originally tried to avoid. The struggle becomes psychological as much as practical. Comfort creates dependency. When you train your mind to expect the easiest option, adversity feels unbearable. Small challenges feel overwhelming because you have not conditioned yourself to endure difficulty. You react emotionally instead of strategically. You blame circumstances instead of taking ownership. The easy path reduces your capacity to lead yourself through storms. Future struggles are often the accumulated result of repeated easy decisions. Debt is rarely created in one moment. Poor health rarely appears overnight. Broken trust rarely happens from one conversation. It is the repetition of small, comfortable choices that build heavy consequences. The pattern is subtle but powerful. Strength is built by resisting comfort when it interferes with growth. When you choose the harder option, you interrupt the cycle of future struggle. You build capacity. You prepare for challenges before they arrive. You create stability instead of chaos. The discomfort you accept today acts as protection against larger pain tomorrow. Life will always present difficulty. The question is whether you face controlled difficulty now or uncontrolled difficulty later. Controlled difficulty is the discipline you choose. Uncontrolled difficulty is the crisis you did not prepare for. Easy choices delay pain. Hard choices distribute it wisely and reduce it long term. Every time you stand at a decision point, you are shaping your future. The easy option may feel harmless, but it quietly shifts the direction of your life. Repeated often enough, it builds struggle. Choosing wisely requires awareness that comfort today can become pressure tomorrow. The path you choose consistently determines whether your future feels heavy or prepared. Hard choices build strength and character because they demand something most people try to avoid: discomfort. Strength is not developed in moments of ease. Character is not formed when everything feels convenient. They are forged in pressure, shaped by resistance, and refined through consistent discipline. Every time you choose the harder path, you are shaping who you are becoming at the deepest level. When you wake up early instead of sleeping in, you are not just gaining extra time. You are training your mind to obey your standards rather than your feelings. When you continue working while others quit, you are not just finishing a task. You are strengthening your tolerance for effort. When you say no to temptation, you are not just avoiding distraction, you are reinforcing self-control. These actions may seem small, but they are building internal power. Character is the ability to do what is right even when it is difficult. It is the decision to stay disciplined when no one is watching. It is keeping your word to yourself when excuses feel justified. Hard choices sharpen that ability. They teach you that you can endure more than you thought. They prove that you are capable of standing firm under pressure. Each time you face discomfort and move forward anyway, you expand your limits. Strength is not just physical, it is mental and emotional. It is the ability to remain calm under stress. It is the capacity to persist when progress feels slow. It is the courage to act despite fear. Hard decisions require you to confront doubt, fatigue, and uncertainty. In doing so, you train resilience. You stop being controlled by emotions and start being guided by principles. Avoiding hard choices may preserve comfort, but it weakens resolve. If you consistently escape difficulty, you never build endurance. The first real challenge that appears can overwhelm you because you have not prepared your mindset to handle resistance. Strength comes from repetition of effort. Just as muscles grow through resistance, character grows through adversity. Hard conversations build integrity. Speaking truth when silence feels safer requires courage. Admitting mistakes requires humility. Taking responsibility requires maturity. Each of these actions strengthens your reputation, not only with others, but with yourself. You begin to trust your own standards. You recognize that you can confront discomfort without collapsing. That internal trust becomes the foundation of confidence. Sacrifice is another element of hard choices. Choosing long-term gain over short-term pleasure requires vision. It requires discipline to delay gratification. Every time you choose to invest time, energy, or resources into growth rather than indulgence, you strengthen patience and focus. You prove that your goals matter more than temporary comfort. That mindset separates leaders from followers. Hard choices also build consistency. Anyone can act with intensity for a short period. True strength is demonstrated through steady effort. Showing up when motivation is gone builds reliability. Continuing when excitement fades builds perseverance. The repetition of disciplined action becomes part of your identity. You no longer rely on inspiration. You rely on commitment. Pressure reveals character. When circumstances become challenging, your habits surface. If you have trained yourself through hard decisions, you respond with clarity and determination. If you have chosen comfort repeatedly, you may react with avoidance or panic. The way you handle stress is a reflection of the standards you practice daily. Hard choices build emotional control. When you resist the urge to react impulsively, you strengthen patience. When you manage frustration productively, you build composure. When you endure criticism without quitting, you develop confidence. These qualities are not accidental, they are earned through deliberate, disciplined action. Each hard decision adds another layer of strength. The accumulation matters. One difficult workout builds endurance. One honest conversation builds integrity. One disciplined financial choice builds stability. Repeated consistently, these decisions transform you. They create a person who is reliable under pressure and steady in uncertainty. The world respects strength of character because it is rare. Many people pursue comfort, few pursue growth. Hard choices demand effort without immediate reward. They require faith in the process. They test your resolve before they offer results. But in the process, they shape you into someone capable of handling success without being destroyed by it. Strength and character do not appear overnight. They are developed through daily resistance. They are built by choosing responsibility over excuses, discipline over distraction, courage over fear. Each hard decision is a building block. Each moment of discomfort embraced is a step toward resilience. Over time, you become unshaken not because life is easy, but because you have trained yourself to be strong. Discipline today creates freedom tomorrow because structure builds stability and stability produces choice. When you choose focus over distraction, saving over spending, training over avoiding, and preparation over procrastination, you are not limiting your life, you are expanding it. Discipline feels restrictive in the moment because it demands boundaries. It demands saying no, it demands control. But those boundaries are not cages, they are foundations, and strong foundations allow you to build a life that does not collapse under pressure. Freedom is often misunderstood. Many people define freedom as doing whatever they want, whenever they want. They chase impulse and call it independence. They resist structure and call it liberation. But without discipline, impulse becomes addiction, and lack of structure becomes chaos. Real freedom is the ability to make choices without being controlled by debt, regret, poor health, or weak habits. That kind of freedom is earned, not granted. Financial discipline is a clear example. When you control spending, invest wisely, and delay unnecessary gratification, you build options. Money saved becomes opportunity. Opportunity becomes mobility. Without discipline, income disappears as quickly as it arrives. Stress replaces security. Freedom shrinks because obligations grow. Choosing discipline today allows you to say yes tomorrow without fear. Time discipline creates the same effect. When you manage your schedule, prioritize meaningful work, and eliminate distractions, you gain control over your days. Without structure, time slips away unnoticed. Hours become wasted. Deadlines create panic. You feel trapped not because you lack ability, but because you lacked order. Discipline organizes effort. Organized effort produces progress. Progress creates breathing room. That breathing room feels like freedom. Health discipline may be the most powerful form. Choosing to move your body, eat with intention, and rest with purpose strengthens your energy and resilience. A disciplined lifestyle reduces illness, increases stamina, and builds confidence. Without it, fatigue dominates. Medical issues limit options. Physical weakness restricts experiences. When your body is strong, you can travel, explore, compete, and live actively. That is freedom earned through daily commitment. Mental discipline protects emotional freedom. Training your thoughts, controlling reactions, and responding instead of reacting gives you power over circumstances. Without discipline, emotions dictate behavior. Anger leads to regret. Fear leads to avoidance. Impulse leads to damage. When you develop mental control, you choose your response regardless of external chaos. That ability to remain steady is internal freedom. Discipline is not punishment. It is preparation. It prepares you for opportunities others cannot handle. It prepares you to withstand pressure without breaking. It prepares you to make decisions based on values rather than moods. Every act of self-control strengthens your capacity to live intentionally. The discomfort of discipline is temporary. The reward is lasting. Waking up early may feel hard. Sticking to a budget may feel restrictive. Studying when others relax may feel isolating, but those sacrifices are investments. Over time, they reduce stress, they increase confidence, they build leverage. The effort you apply today reduces the obstacles you face tomorrow. Without discipline, freedom becomes fragile. A lack of preparation forces dependence. Dependence limits choice. When you rely on others to rescue you from financial mistakes, health crises, or missed deadlines, you surrender autonomy. Discipline builds self-reliance. Self-reliance strengthens independence. Independence expands possibility. Delayed gratification is the engine behind disciplined freedom. The ability to wait, to sacrifice, to endure short-term discomfort for long-term gain creates exponential results. Each small disciplined action compounds, savings accumulate, skills improve, strength increases, knowledge expands. Eventually, you look around and realize you have options others do not. You can walk away from toxic situations, you can take calculated risks, you can pursue meaningful goals without desperation. That is freedom. Discipline also builds confidence. When you consistently honor your commitments, you trust yourself. Self-trust removes hesitation. You know you can handle responsibility because you have proven it repeatedly. That confidence opens doors. Opportunities feel less intimidating because you have prepared for them. Some people wait for freedom to arrive before they become disciplined. The truth is the opposite. Discipline creates the conditions where freedom becomes possible. The entrepreneur who works tirelessly in the beginning earns flexibility later. The student who studies intensely now gains career options later. The athlete who trains relentlessly now competes without fear later. Freedom without discipline is short-lived. Discipline without freedom is temporary. The two are connected. The structure you build today determines the liberty you experience tomorrow. Each focused decision reduces future limitation. Each controlled action increases future choice. You are either sacrificing for the life you want or sacrificing the life you want for temporary comfort. Discipline asks you to endure now so you can enjoy later. It demands effort before reward. It challenges impulse with intention. Over time, it transforms pressure into possibility. The boundaries you create become the framework that supports lasting independence. Growth lives outside comfort because comfort maintains who you are, while discomfort transforms who you become. When you stay inside what feels familiar and safe, you operate within limits you already understand. There is no expansion there. There is no evolution. Comfort protects your current identity, but it also traps your potential. The moment you step into discomfort, you step into possibility. Comfort feels stable because it removes risk. You know what to expect. You know the outcomes. You know the effort required. But predictable effort produces predictable results. If you want a different future, you must accept unfamiliar pressure. Every promotion, every breakthrough, every transformation requires stepping into territory where you are not yet confident. That uncertainty is not weakness. It is the gateway to growth. In the gym, muscles grow when they are pushed beyond what feels easy. If you lift the same light weight every day, your body adapts and stops changing. The same principle applies to your mind and your life. If you repeat only what feels manageable, your capacity remains unchanged. Discomfort is resistance, and resistance builds strength. Without it, there is no development. Fear often signals growth. When you feel nervous before taking a risk, speaking up, starting something new, or challenging yourself, that sensation is evidence that you are stretching beyond old boundaries. Most people interpret fear as a stop sign. In reality, it is often a signal that you are approaching expansion. Growth requires confronting the unknown, and the unknown naturally creates tension. Comfort also creates complacency. When life feels easy, urgency fades. You stop pushing, you stop refining, you settle into routine. Over time, that routine becomes stagnation. Skills plateau, ambition softens, energy declines, not because you lack ability, but because you stop challenging it. Growth demands friction. It demands effort beyond what is convenient. Stepping outside comfort forces learning. When you try something difficult, you expose weaknesses. That exposure can feel uncomfortable, even embarrassing, but it is necessary. You cannot strengthen what you refuse to examine. Mistakes reveal gaps. Feedback highlights blind spots. Pressure reveals limitations. When you lean into these moments instead of avoiding them, you gain awareness. Awareness leads to improvement. Resilience is born outside comfort. If you only operate where conditions are favorable, you never train your ability to endure adversity. The first major setback can feel devastating because you have not built emotional endurance. Discomfort teaches patience. It teaches problem solving. It teaches you that setbacks are temporary. Each challenge handled successfully increases your capacity for the next one. Opportunity lies beyond comfort as well. New connections require social risk. Career advancement requires skill development and visibility. Entrepreneurship requires uncertainty and sacrifice. Creative expression requires vulnerability. None of these feel safe at first, but they are the paths that lead to meaningful progress. Staying comfortable keeps you hidden from the very experiences that could elevate your life. Growth also requires letting go of old identities. Comfort often ties you to who you used to be. You may feel safe being the reliable employee, the quiet student, the person who avoids risk. But evolving may require becoming the leader, the innovator, the one who speaks first. That transition feels uncomfortable because it disrupts your self-image. Yet without that disruption, there is no reinvention. The pain of growth is purposeful. It is structured. It moves you forward. The pain of stagnation is heavier because it carries regret. When you avoid discomfort repeatedly, you begin to wonder what could have been. That question becomes louder over time. Regret weighs more than temporary struggle. Choosing discomfort is an act of self-belief. It means you trust your ability to adapt. It means you are willing to risk failure in exchange for progress. Each time you step into something challenging, you reinforce the belief that you can handle more than you thought. Confidence grows not from ease, but from conquered challenges. Discomfort also sharpens focus. When you commit to growth, you become intentional. You manage time carefully. You train with purpose. You study with discipline. You engage deeply. Comfort encourages distraction. Growth demands concentration. That concentration accelerates improvement. You do not have to take massive leaps every day. Growth can begin with small discomforts, waking up earlier, speaking up once, attempting a new skill, saying no to what drains you. Each small step expands your tolerance. Over time, what once felt intimidating becomes normal. Your comfort zone grows because you push its boundaries. The edge of comfort is where transformation begins. It is where you discover hidden strength. It is where resilience forms. It is where ambition becomes action. If you want to become more capable, more confident, more accomplished, you must be willing to feel temporary discomfort. That tension is not your enemy. It is your teacher. Delayed gratification multiplies success because it aligns your present actions with your future vision instead of your current emotions. Most people are controlled by what feels good now. They respond to impulse, chase comfort, and prioritize immediately. The problem is that instant pleasure rarely builds lasting achievement. True success requires patience, restraint, and the strength to endure temporary discomfort for long-term gain. When you delay gratification, you interrupt the natural desire for quick results. To accept that meaningful growth takes time. You understand that planting the seed is only the beginning. The harvest comes later. That waiting period tests your discipline. It challenges your focus. It forces you to continue working even when the rewards are not visible. This is where separation happens. Many stop because they do not see immediate progress. Those who continue create exponential outcomes. The principle of compounding explains why delayed gratification multiplies success. Small efforts, repeated consistently over time, create massive impact. A single disciplined action may appear insignificant, saving a small amount of money, studying for an extra hour, practicing one more repetition. These actions alone seem minor, but when repeated daily, they build momentum that grows beyond expectation. Progress builds upon progress, effort builds upon effort. The results eventually become undeniable. Impulsiveness weakens long-term growth. When you constantly seek immediate reward, you sacrifice potential. Spending instead of investing reduces financial leverage. Entertainment instead of education limits skill development. Quitting when things become difficult prevents mastery. Immediate satisfaction closes the door on greater opportunity. It feels rewarding in the moment, but it shrinks your future. Delayed gratification strengthens discipline. Every time you say no to distraction and yes to effort, you build self-control. Self-control becomes a habit. That habit becomes identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through, someone who finishes what they start, someone who values growth over comfort. Identity shapes behavior. When discipline becomes part of who you are, success becomes more predictable. Patience is power. The ability to wait without losing intensity gives you an advantage. Many people begin with enthusiasm but fade when results are slow. They expect transformation in days instead of years. Real achievement demands sustained commitment. The entrepreneur who reinvests profits instead of spending them builds long-term wealth. The athlete who trains relentlessly in the off-season performs when it matters. The student who studies consistently masters complex skills. Each example reflects the same principle. Short-term sacrifice produces long-term dominance. Delayed gratification also protects you from regret. Impulsive decisions often create consequences that last longer than the pleasure that caused them. Acting without thinking can damage finances, health, and relationships. Choosing restraint preserves stability. Stability allows for calculated risks instead of desperate reactions. When you build slowly and intentionally, you reduce chaos and increase clarity. There is also psychological strength in waiting. When you control your impulses, you prove to yourself that you are not ruled by emotion. You demonstrate maturity. You show that your goals are more important than temporary cravings. That internal victory builds confidence. Confidence encourages bigger goals. Bigger goals require greater patience. The cycle reinforces itself. The multiplication effect of delayed gratification is not linear. It accelerates. Skills compound into expertise. Savings compound into wealth. Knowledge compounds into wisdom. Strength compounds into endurance. At first, progress feels slow. The early stages demand the most discipline because results are small. Over time, growth speeds up. What once felt impossible becomes routine. The investment begins to pay visible dividends. Distraction is the enemy of delayed gratification. Modern life constantly offers instant entertainment and quick validation. It becomes easy to trade focus for convenience. But every distraction delays growth. Protecting your time and energy requires intention. It requires clarity about what you truly want. When your vision is strong, temporary pleasures lose power. Long-term success is rarely built through dramatic moments. It is built through consistent restraint, choosing to practice again, choosing to save again, choosing to work again. These repeated decisions stack upon each other. Eventually, the gap between you and those who chose comfort becomes wide. The difference is not talent, it is patience. Delayed gratification creates resilience. When you are accustomed to waiting and working without immediate reward, setbacks do not break you. You understand that progress is a process. You trust the timeline because you trust your effort. That confidence allows you to persist when others quit. The discipline to wait transforms potential into achievement. It converts vision into reality. It protects you from short-term mistakes and positions you for long-term wins. The rewards may not appear instantly, but when they arrive, they are greater, stronger, and more sustainable than anything impulse can provide. The hard choice is the one that demands something from you now instead of promising something to you later. It is the alarm clock that rings before the sun rises and asks you to step out of warmth into discipline. It is the workout when your body is tired, the study session when your friends are relaxing, the honest conversation when silence would be easier, the savings account when spending would feel better. The hard choice does not shout, it whispers. It does not sparkle, it strains. And because it strains, most people step away from it. They tell themselves they will do it tomorrow. They convince themselves that comfort is harmless. But comfort collects interest, and that interest is paid in regret. Every time you choose what is easy, you are borrowing from your future. You are pushing difficulty down the road, and when it returns heavier. The workout you skip becomes the health problem you can't ignore. The money you spend impulsively becomes the stress you can't escape. The opportunity you delay becomes the door that quietly closes. Easy choices multiply today's comfort, but also multiply tomorrow's pressure. Hard choices reverse that equation. They multiply today's effort and shrink tomorrow's obstacles. They are investments in peace. Discipline is simply remembering what you want most when what you want now is screaming louder. The hard choice forces you to define what truly matters. Do you want temporary pleasure, or do you want lasting pride? Do you want applause from people who won't be there in 5 years, or do you want respect from the person you see in the mirror every morning? The easy path feeds ego, the hard path builds character. And character is what carries you when motivation disappears. When you choose the hard conversation, you protect relationships from silent decay. When you choose the extra hour of practice, you separate yourself from average. When you choose to learn instead of scroll, to save instead of spend, to work instead of complain, you are building a foundation that will not crack under pressure. The world does not reward intention, it rewards preparation. And preparation is always a hard choice made long before the spotlight appears. Pain is unavoidable. The question is which pain you are willing to endure. There is the pain of discipline and the pain of regret. One burns now and strengthens you, the other stings later and weakens you. The pain of discipline is controlled, you choose it. The pain of regret controls you, it chooses you. One creates freedom, the other creates chains. When you avoid the hard choice, you are not avoiding pain, you are postponing it and surrendering control over when and how it arrives. Growth has a cost. Muscles grow by being challenged. Minds grow by being stretched. Bank accounts grow by restraint. Confidence grows by facing fear. None of these expansions happen inside comfort. Comfort maintains, it does not multiply. If you want multiplication in your life, more strength, more opportunity, more stability, you must accept temporary discomfort as the entrance fee. The hard choice is not punishment, it is tuition. Think about the version of yourself you hope to become. That person is not built by accident. That person is shaped by repeated decisions that most people avoid. Waking up when it's dark, saying no when it's popular to say yes, standing firm when it's easier to bend, working when nobody is watching, choosing integrity when shortcuts are available. The hard choice today is a vote for that future identity, and every vote counts. Success is rarely about one dramatic leap. It is about hundreds of quiet decisions that no one applauds. The athlete who wins championships trained on days when quitting felt justified. The entrepreneur who builds wealth sacrificed nights of entertainment for nights of strategy. The leader who earns trust told the truth when lying would have protected them. Their lives became easier not because life stopped being demanding, but because they became stronger than the demands. There is power in understanding that difficulty is temporary, but consequences are lasting. The hour you spend preparing saves you days of recovery. The dollar you save today protects you from months of anxiety. The boundary you set now prevents years of resentment. Hard choices compress struggle into manageable moments. Easy choices stretch struggle across entire seasons of your life. You do not rise to the level of your wishes, you rise to the level of your standards. And standards are proven in private decisions. When you repeatedly choose the hard path, you train your mind to stop negotiating with weakness. You build trust with yourself. You become someone who follows through. That self-trust is priceless. It removes doubt. It replaces hesitation with action. It turns goals from fantasies into plans. The hard choice today is a declaration that your future deserves better than your weaknesses. It is a commitment to trade momentary comfort for lasting stability. It is the understanding that ease now often means hardship later, and effort now often means freedom later. Every time you choose what is difficult but right, you are not making your life harder. You are making your future lighter. Elevate your thinking. Thrive in your life.